You have been gathering. For some, this is gathering supplies, this is gathering things you're going to need to build something. And for others, this is gathering of yourself, gathering of your energy. Um, you you had the foresight that you were going to do this thing and that it was going to take a significant amount of time. And so you've been slowly preparing to kind of make it happen. And Spirit is saying it's time. You have exactly what you need. Everything that was standing in your way has been cleared away, and that it is time to go forward with the thing that you've been gathering about. Um, Specifically, what came forward is I had these earrings when I was about 10, and they were made with beads and porcupine quills. And what came to me was the woman that had made them. She was a uh, very unique soul. And even though I didn't know her well, you remembered any interaction that you had with her. That's how much she was her own vibe. And that the spirit of that woman came forward, and she's saying, go make it, go make the art. So if you, for example, are one that gathers rocks, sticks, bones, feathers, she's saying you need to, there was a reason that you gathered those, you need to make those into the art that they were always intended to be. So this may be jewelry, um, she's like brooms, wreaths, some sort of arrangement that is used as um, a powerful symbol, that it's used as a tool, that very few people understand how to weave together the materials that you have to make it into what it's supposed to be. And she's just encouraging you to go make the thing that you know exactly what you're making, even though intellectually you don't really know what the outcome is. Your spirit knows what the outcome is, and that they're really pushing you to just go, that it's time. In that same vein, regarding the earrings, there are spirits coming forward and saying, we have given you specific amulets, pendants, protection, jewelry, and you're not using it. So for some of you, this is an heirloom or something that belonged to a loved one that's passed, specifically a necklace, pocket watch, coin. um, they're saying when you have that on your person, you are walking with our protection, and that is something that you haven't worn in a while, or something that you haven't had contact with, and your loved ones really want you to go find that thing and hold it. For a few, it's not like something you can hold. They're showing me a vehicle, they're showing me keys. So you have the keys to something motorized that your loved one wants you to go get in, because they want to communicate with you, they want to give you something, and that is their means, that is the physical connection here on the earth plane that they have with you. And that when you pick up that object, that is when the spiritual connection can form, so they can tell you what they're trying to tell you. Anything else? They're saying more cheese. And what they're meaning is they're really wanting you to like get into life, to just be all in, to be fun, to be expressive. That, yeah, it looks over the top, it looks really cheesy. Um, but cheese is freedom. That for many people, they observe observe an over the top cheesy life, and they may mock it or make fun of it, but on a soul level there's this resonance of, oh my god, those people are totally free. They actually sing and dance in their life, they actually create music, they actually make art, they're actually doing things that they love, and they love each other, and their love isn't a competition. What the hell? There are so few people that experience that. And when they view it, they will call it cheesy. And spirit is saying, more cheese, please. Bring on all the cheese. What else? Oh, in the heart space, there is someone that you have had a previous ending with. So this could be an ex spouse, an ex partner, an ex friend, a family member you had a falling out with. There is a connection that you've had that there's been some distance for quite some time. And the people that they are in connection with, either still in connection with or a new connection that they formed since your relationship ended, the person they're with is having this like awakening and wanting to reach out and contact you because they're seeing this person in the way that you viewed them. They're understanding why you stepped away, and there's this longing to connect with you. But ooh, do you hear that? They're longing to connect with you, but it is not likely that they will. And the reason for that is they have this level of guilt because they participated in gossip, slander, or simply just didn't defend you with that person. And they don't want to admit to that. But there is, and this could be up to 3 people that are feeling this way towards you. And they don't know how you would react if they reached out. And I see 3 very different reactions. For one of these people, you want nothing to do with them. You're hanging them out to dry. For the second person, there's this feeling of, I kind of suspected that. um, I get that you're in survival mode, that you're trying to make this dynamic work, and part of that is that you have to be in agreement. um, I'm gonna distance myself from you, and I'm going to be very mindful about what I share about my life from now on. That's the second reaction. The third reaction you're having is kind of this like tough love of, you've got a person returning to you and they're saying, oh, I see what you meant. Like, they're doing the same thing to me now. And although you have compassion, there's also this level of, so what are you going to do about it? Nothing's going to change until you change. And you're really holding up a mirror to this person. It feels like this is related to either an attachment of an unhealthy dynamic, uh, an addiction, or just simply habit. And it feels like you've supported this person in these attachments for a long time, and you're kind of seeing their cycles and realizing that they're actually content staying in their cycles of dysfunction. And so it's not that you don't care for them, but you're having the I guess full seeing that you have a responsibility when you love someone to say, hey, this is what I see that's holding you back. And that's a fine line to walk, to ensure that you're not projecting onto them, to ensure that you're not taking on this savior role. At the end of the day, you sometimes are called to say things to people that you as a person don't really want to say. But on a soul level, your soul and that soul had an agreement that you were going to come here and deliver the message that they needed to hear when they needed to hear it. And the crappy thing about being in that role is you have no control over how it's going to be received. And oftentimes initially it is rejected, and it causes people to distance themselves from you. It causes people to put on energy of you that isn't accurate. um, it causes people to go into a defense mode. And it's you're kind of left holding the energy of it, of I was just doing what I felt called to do in that moment. And if me saying something that I thought was going to alleviate pain, I made that decision to alleviate pain. And sometimes to alleviate pain, we have to like lance and drain. And for many people, the messages that you're called to convey are something that they have learned to live with. And it's really disgusting. They're showing me this like boil, this abscess, and the pressure of it. And they're saying people get comfortable in the pressure wounds that they carry. It's so gross, but they're saying like think of when something's infected and the skin gets warm, that for some people that wounding feels like a warm hug because it is familiar, it is what they know, and you coming in an effort to drain and alleviate leaves them feeling kind of deflated because that wounding has been molded into their identity. What they have lost is so, what do I want to say here? They're so attached to the story of what they have been that there isn't space for any new story to come in and get written. And when you for yourself decide I want a different story, um yeah, that story happened, but it's not a story that I'm going to keep repeating. When people witness you doing that in your own life, and then you try to nudge them in that direction, it's very upsetting because what you're essentially doing in a way is putting on a shelf everything that's known, everything that used to be. And for someone that doesn't believe in their ability to create new, this is absolute loss. And you opening up that wound is essentially taking from them. That's what they perceive it as, is you're taking my warm blanket, you're taking away my wounding, and I actually enjoyed walking around wrapped up in a blanket. When you go through that shedding process yourself, it's very easy for you to walk in the world and identify people's warm wounded blanket. And by ripping it off, there's no other way for you to be perceived than someone starting trouble. Why are you digging up the past? And what you're really doing is setting it ablaze, of like clearing a path forward. And when you clear paths forward, this is another triggering event for people that are not ready for it because they were so attached to their belief, their limited belief that this is how small they are, this is how far they can go. And seeing and witnessing you go beyond that, and then to also say you can go beyond it too, it feels to them as if you're mocking. It feels to them as if you are not seeing them, that you are pretending. Where am I going? That you are pretending that they are capable of something that they are not capable of. Oh, they're saying that, and that's the point. There are people that are so programmed and enmeshed into the life that they're in that their ability to imagine themselves in a different reality is not an option. They truly cannot envision or imagine themselves in a different, better life. They have accepted the life that they're in. And with that acceptance, they've decided it so. They have created the box around the box of their life. And witnessing you out of the box, again, is a reminder that they are in one. And so there is this tightrope that you sometimes have to walk of, you want to be the shining example, and yet you also just want to be left alone to do your thing. But spirit didn't bring you here to do your thing in the dark. You were brought here to be forward and be in the light, be of the light. And that only in doing that can you fulfill the mission. To fulfill the mission requires you to walk through fire, requires you to withstand whatever is thrown upon you in reaction to the light that you bring. And so there are people finding themselves in a cycle of darkness. For many of them, this is with a person that you have previously detached from, or you were previously in connection with. And now that some cycles have passed, they're seeing this person from your perspective, and they're wanting to come back in and connect with you about that. And you're, depending on who it is, you're going to have different levels of reaction. Some people, you've burnt that bridge. Other people, you're willing to sit down with them kind of around the fire and be like, look, this is where I'm holding you accountable. And for a third option, you're dipping a torch into the flames, and you're handing them back their flame and saying, figure it out. I believe in you, but I can't walk beside you until you figure it out.